Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to the Investing Bros. I am T. Shroom. Today we're going to be diving into some breaking news that is sending asset prices lower. That's right, I said asset, not just crypto, not just Bitcoin, and it's all due to what looks like some major geopolitical developments. U.S. crude oil gains to $86 a barrel as Israel reportedly prepares for attack by Iran this weekend. Not a very comforting headline, especially for loved ones in the Middle East. We'll take a look here at some of the details. The West Texas Intermediate contract for May delivery hit a session high of 87.67, while June Brent futures rallied 82.18. We'll take a look here at Bitcoin prices. This was not what we were expecting at all. Cruising through April, heading into the halving. A major geopolitical event has sent Bitcoin prices through two major levels of support and outside of the diamond, the platinum pocket here. We're now testing levels down to 65,000, and you got to hand it to a few of the 9 a.m. bros that tuned in this morning actually predicted 65,000, a wick down to 65. I don't think anybody would have predicted we got it before market closed today, but it's exactly what we're getting. And I think even less people would have predicted the reason behind it. Now let's take a look at oil prices here. We're going to take a look at the Dixie. This is an event that is very much outside of crypto. It looks like that's impacting risk on assets. Of course, crypto being the chief among the risk on assets, and the meme coins being the extra froth on the top of that. So we'll be taking a look at all of those here in just a second. Well, not all of them, but we'll take a look at a lot of as much as we can here in just a few minutes. This is Brent crude. As you can see, a huge spike earlier today. Actually got up as high as $87 per barrel before retracing and coming back to the downside already. So likely these oil prices were preceding what was likely to hit the mainstream media later in the day, aka at present here, entering the first 4 minutes of Power Hour in the New York session. Let's go ahead and jump over to ABC News. U.S. moving assets to region to deter Iran from retaliatory attack on Israel and avoiding wider conflict, officials say. It's never fun to have to report on these types of things, but bros, we will be getting into here maybe some crypto opportunities that you could go ahead and deploy. So I was hoping to have a little bit more of a lighthearted episode today, but that's not what we have been delivered here by the markets and by geopolitics. So we will work with what we can. I think getting too far into the details here is probably not worth it. That's not why you're tuning in. There'll be much more in-depth information elsewhere, but we will read some of this article. At the same time, the U.S. was moving the troops and other assets to the Middle East as Iran readied a large number of missiles and drones for potential strikes against Israel, according to U.S. officials. The deployment of American troops was intended to try to deter Iran from launching a large-scale attack and protecting U.S. troops in the region. Two U.S. officials said Iran has readied more than 100 cruise missiles for a possible strike. The U.S. assets being moved into the region in response could assist with air defense, according to one official. So this is what, all of the diplomacy and all of the back and forth between heads of state has all been for, is to try to delay a moment like this where it escalates and missiles start getting put into articles on mainstream media on ABC News. So some 3,400 U.S. troops are in Iran and Syria, with tens of thousands of U.S. personnel in the Middle East region. So lots of boots on the ground there. U.S. troops, of course, if any of those were to go down, things could go south pretty quick. Let's go ahead and jump on back over to the charts here. We're getting a pretty good understanding of the geopolitical context. Things are heating up where they shouldn't be, and where there has been some anticipation and lots of effort and resources put towards non-escalation. But it looks like things are going in the wrong direction there, unfortunately. So that is having an effect on crypto prices, specifically Bitcoin here is what we're looking at. Again, it has broken south of the platinum pocket, which is not what we were expecting at all today. We're kind of expecting the Bollinger Bands as they were continuing to contract here, just to probably trade sideways into the halving. That's likely what we were going to see, but geopolitical tensions and escalation has had other plans. Let's take a look at the New York Stock Exchange. I'll pull up the SPY, and as you can see, selling off quite rapidly here out on the 4-hour as well. So it's not just crypto. Here from the I'm on the 4-hour. I'll go from yesterday's close. Actually, yesterday's wick high down to where we are now for the S&P, down almost 2%. So honestly, not as bad as it could be. We are in power hour now. That is the hour before the close of the New York session. So we could see further downside for the New York Stock Exchange stocks. This is the S&P index, of course, heading over to the Qs. You see something similar, although not even really breaking down and putting in lower lows, right? It's a higher, technically this is a higher low here. So the stock market holding up better than crypto, something that is very obvious here. Let's check on the Dow Jones. Dow Jones not holding up very well at all and has been in quite a downtrend here. I'm going to jump out to the daily chart just to get a little bit more clarity. Yeah, this has not been good for the Dow Jones. We're not going to parse too much into this and try to explain the difference and why it might be. Ultimately, the Dow has less weight on the stupendous 7 or whatever it is, the FANG stocks, and so it's not going to do as well. Perhaps has been a little bit of a canary in the coal mine, maybe of what we're experiencing today, but I wouldn't read too much into that. Ethereum. Now let's go ahead and get into the altcoins. We've talked about Bitcoin. We've talked about stocks. Stocks holding up much better than Bitcoin today, but let's go ahead and look at the altcoins. A great way to just take a quick snapshot of that is through the bubbles, cryptobubbles.net, and it's a bloodbath, folks. Core down 30%, Bonk down 23%. I'm seeing a lot of opportunities. I'm going to turn to the chat here in just a few minutes, so let me know, are you buying anything? Are you taking advantage of this move in risk assets to the downside? Do you anticipate much more downside? What are you thinking is happening here? Of course, in these moments of geopolitical tension, and clearly it's having an effect on asset markets. There is some question, some higher level of uncertainty of where asset prices could go. But one thing that is for sure, you want to buy low, you want to sell high, and today, just objectively, prices are low. There's an unfortunate reason for that, but prices are low. You buy low, you sell high. By the end of this episode, there are a few tickers that I have had my eye on, and now that we are getting a dip lower, I want to wait for confirmation that we aren't going even lower, right? And then probably pick some of those names up. We'll be getting into those in just a second. Let me know in the chat, what do you think are going to happen to Bitcoin here? Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum has back out here on the daily chart, absolutely given up the midline of the Bollinger Band here and is now starting to trade outside of this purple channel that I have drawn out. It's gone past the bottom Bollinger Band as well. Let's take a look at some oscillators, and you have a big jerking motion down to the downside with money flow red. Let's drill in a little bit more here, back down to the 4 hours. That jerking motion, much more pronounced. Money flow coming down negative. Still, I will point out, still above this defining line here, this yellow line. Once we get outside of that then becomes much more bearish, right? We're still inside of it now. Could be a lot more downside if we were to give up that. Taking a look at the MACD here again for Ethereum. Big histogram, jerking motion, kind of out of nowhere, unprecedented. Makes a ton of sense with what we're seeing in the news. So that's Ethereum. Let's keep moving on down the list. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, single-digit losses. It's kind of nice to see compared to what else I'm seeing here on my watch list here. Let's see if there's anything that's holding on. BNB coin, impressive here. This is the MACD for BNB. It's got a big sell-off, but on the day, it's actually only down 2.5% somehow. So this is holding up well. Look, as a comparison, BNB chain compared to Ethereum today, right? Compared to that midline of the Bollinger Band, there's no comparison. Ethereum breaking down big time. BNB coin holding strong with some significant losses. I mean, still down almost 3%, right? But holding strong, I'd say. Seeing some strength there in BNB. Let's see what else we got here. I mean, there's a lot to cover here. There's a lot of movement to the downside, folks. Chainlink, another very, very big project that folks are pretty well allocated into. This one, Chainlink from the midline of the Bollinger Band here on the 4-hour, down about 18%, call it 20, with that wick extension 23. Goodness gracious. So, blood in the streets is a phrase that's coming to mind here. This is, when, it's not a 30% pullback in Bitcoin. It's not what we're seeing, right? But this is a significant pullback. We've been seeing crypto prices kind of fall asleep to some extent, unless you've been trading the meme markets, and you probably don't feel that way. But jumping back over to Bitcoin, let me tell the macro story here a little bit. Before we do that, let's check in with the chat. Let's see what's going on with everybody in the crypto world. Fade and TradFi said 1, 2, 3 on gas on ETH. Yikes. People are puking. Yep, absolutely. If you are in any leveraged positions on Blofin, on any leverage trading account, Mexi, whatever it is, likely you are seeing liquidations, unfortunately, in those positions. If you still somehow are not unliquidated, you may, or still not liquidated, you may want to check on those and, potentially consider what it might look like to exit those positions. Warrior4588X said, looking at Link, thinking 13-ish will be the next support area. We'll definitely be picking up more for sure. This is the comments that I'm looking for. Warrior, always on point with the comments here. Let's go back and take a look at Chainlink. So, seeing some downside today, much more than we've been used to. I will point out that, this is kind of what you might remember crypto looking like in the bear market, right? Coming out of those highs in 2021, seeing double-digit losses across the board. I would say that this is an anomaly for the bull market that we're in, right? So if you're just brand new to crypto, do not think that today is representative of what the bull market is going to look like. Today, high-risk assets, crypto, are reacting to a significant geopolitical event, right? Let's look at Chainlink really quickly, and I want to continue to tell that story. But really, this is a macro day, right? The profits are going to be in buying altcoins today, buying these double-digit sell-offs, right? AGIX down 20%, PIF down 18%, Polkadot down 18%, Atom down 15%, right? These are high-quality top 100 projects that are bleeding today. Do you buy low to sell high eventually, right? That's the question to ask today. If you have extra liquidity, today is probably not a bad time to pick out those projects that you've been waiting for pullbacks on, right? Now, that is, consider though that we could see lower prices depending on how, right, these stories play out. With oil, I wouldn't call it skyrocketing, but oil creeping higher as a result of escalations and tensions, and the tensions themselves, right? If this continues to trend in the wrong direction and U.S. and NATO allies have to continue to get involved here to come to the aid of Israel, right? And other Israeli allies have to come to the aid of Israel. This is what the kind of things that happen in the world that can shake markets to their core, right? I'm not saying that we're there yet. We are not there yet, right? This is moving in the direction of negativity, right? You never want to see oil prices going up as a result of instability in foreign regimes, especially ones that produce a lot of oil or buy and sell a lot of oil. But I wouldn't say that we are at some kind of, disaster point right now. The markets are reacting, markets are selling off, and, folks are de-risking, right? Maybe have leverage positions, maybe they're overexposed and they know it. They should have been getting liquidated, right? But they're not. They're going ahead and getting out. But plenty of folks are getting liquidated here. Taking a look, you can see, goodness gracious, on CoinGlass.com, these are all the longs that have been liquidated today. This is pretty extreme. We haven't seen levels like this since back on March 4th, right? Who can tell me what happened on March 4th that led to these longs getting absolutely obliterated? That was the last time that we were at these levels north of 60K 65K liquidation levels. That was March 4th. Let's go back and look at that on the Bitcoin charts. March 4th. That was right back here. So this was this big pullback right after a gigantic move higher, after some consolidation here in Bitcoin, had a very big very big candlestick move to the upside, right, of almost, call it 10%, and then an immediate sell off with a huge wick to the downside. You gotta love TradingView here. They give you the tools, but they make it so hard to use. 13% to the downside on that. So we haven't seen long liquidations of these levels since back here in March 4th, and that was what the candlesticks looked like back then. So far, the candlestick wick to wick sell-off for Bitcoin is only in single digits, getting as low as 8.5% wick to wick. Let's go back to the chat, see what's crack-a-lackin'. So far, I'm really liking the input. A lot of valuable insights from the chat. Eddie PT said, guys, this bull run is a lie. It should only start in like 1 month. People were hyped for the spot ETF. That was the reason for the pumps. The real one is about to start. Okay. So you've been believing a lie, but it's good, according to Eddie PT. You're in the right place at the right time. All you have to do is buy, according to Eddie PT, right? Not to put words in your mouth there, Eddie, but I mean, you're not making a bad point. What you're basically saying is all of this move higher here on my screen, right? If I could just clear everything off, including the Bollinger Bands. I know and love you, Bollinger Bands, but let's get you out of here. There we go. All of this move, right, post the approval of the ETF, which came in on January 10th, right? You had the initial spike up in the sell the news, which brought us down 21%, right? over 14 days, so over 2 weeks, we saw 20%. We've done 10% today in 1 bar in 1 day, right? Now we've seen that kind of movement recently. We saw it back here, March 19th, right? We saw a 10% move in 1 day. Okay, so this isn't too foreign, to be honest with you. But what Eddie PT is saying is all of this movement since the ETF really shouldn't exist. It's a lie, in his words, right? And I think there's some truth to this. It's definitely not that simple, but this is the main core kind of principle evidence behind the "this time is different" thesis. This time is different. What happens because it's different is not yet known. But as we're seeing today, we're seeing some opinions flying around that this pullback is justified and that we should see more room to the downside is likely what I would kind of read into what Eddie's saying here. Throwing back these fibs back on, we've got a lot drawn here, guys, and I apologize for it getting a little crazy. Let me delete some of this. We'll leave it. I apologize. It's a little messy, but zoomed in, it's a little bit easier to see, perhaps. As you can, let me get rid of these white lines, right? Because this pennant here, I would say, is largely irrelevant. What we would like to see, just before I delete this, is for the candlestick, for Bitcoin's daily candlestick, to come back and close above 68%, $68,000. I'm sorry, not percent. So we want it to come back up and close. We really want it to come back and close 67.4. If we do not close 67.4 today, then we could see more movement to the downside. What is comforting, though, is that we do have this very ironclad level of support that we just tested back early April 2nd and 3rd, wicked through both times but held steady, made a move higher, and now we're putting in a higher low, right? If we can keep it, if we don't push lower. Drilling in here, let's go to the 1 hour. I know we're spending a lot of time on Bitcoin, but we will, because this is a big moment for our industry. We want to see how well crypto holds up. So far, relative to the stock market, it's not holding up very well, I will say. Let's take a look here. So 64,500, 64,700, call it. This is a pretty significant level. We have not gone down and touched that yet, right? But this was the level that we were testing back here in early April. And this should supply the support that we would need to not push lower. Now, what we really want to see on these 1 hour candles is for price to come back up and close above the 0.68, right? That's pretty crucial. That's the Fibonacci level there of the platinum pocket. We want it to come back up there and close, and ideally we come all the way back up here and close back inside this triangle. But there's not much time left in this triangle, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and delete these lines. I've had them for a while, but what I think is more relevant now is the blue uptrending line of support that we have already broken technically, and this golden triangle that I have drawn that we've also broken out. What would be very, very bullish, and what would cause the markets to drop their jaw with bullishness, is if we could get all the way back up and close back inside this pennant at 69,700, 69,800, call it, right? That would be very bullish. That would signal to the market Bitcoin is serious going into the halving, right? This is a strong, robust price structure that is ready to explode. That would instill a lot of confidence in the bulls, and that would send asset prices higher. Let's see what else the chat is saying here. Rocky Zeromo said Ondo, major potential being issued by BlackRock. You might be barking up the right tree here with one of my picks for this dip. Gustavo Viejo saying, T-Shroom, I was late. Why are we dumping? Excellent question. We'll return to the major headlines of the hour. This is U.S. oil gains $86 per barrel as Israel reportedly prepares for attack by Iran this weekend. Correction, does not prepare to attack, prepares for attack by Iran this weekend. Okay, this is how ABC News is reporting it. U.S. moving assets to region to deter Iran from retaliatory attack on Israel, avoiding wider conflict, officials say. Okay, both of these stories are essentially saying here, escalation in the Middle East having an effect on oil prices. We took a look at oil. To be honest with you, I mean, trading crypto, the volatility in oil is not significant, but to the wider market, big swings in the price movement for oil can be taken as scary, right? But I mean, if you look at it, we've been trading inside this rectangle here for a while. I don't think a sudden move up here. I mean, I'm on the 1 hour, so this is intraday, but I mean, it's a 3% move, right? Oil prices usually are not that volatile, but if you're coming from crypto, which we all kind of are, that is not that big of a shocker. The bigger concern here is how this is going to affect inflation if the larger trend continues, right? Because if I zoom all the way out here and then I draw a line, if I draw a slope, we start to see something that we do not want to see when it comes to inflation and how the Fed can restrict liquidity, right? Because if I draw this line out, this could potentially put us at a low end, starting to get into the 90s very, very quickly. You can see how this can happen, right? So we do not want that. We want this trend to continue to get broken. We want to see oil find a nice top, find some strong resistance, not be able to break through, and then break back down and go lower, or else inflation is just going to come back up. We don't want inflation to come back up. That's not good. That's very bad. But unfortunately, with tensions escalating in the Middle East, we are likely to see oil continue on this path higher. Taking a look at the Dixie, it also starts to explain why we're seeing a sell-off in asset prices. I'm going to get off the hour. Well, I'll stay on the hourly chart here. As you can see, so this is the 12th. Okay, this is today. This is today's starting. This is the 11th ending. As you can see, the Dixie has just had an absolutely terrific day, up 0.7%. That's a lot for the dollar index. This, of course, not what you want to see when this goes up. Bitcoin usually goes down. We saw Bitcoin actually come up back here on the 10th as Dixie was shooting up, kind of defying, what usually happens, defying that normal dynamic. But here we are. Let's go back to the chat. Again, let's see. It's PSY Adam said, it's Iran. I'm not sure why this is so scary. Yeah, it's definitely scary. We'll get into why here in just a second. We read a lot more details earlier in the hour. Gustavo Viejo saying, one more question, T-Shroom. You said 67.4 close for weekly or daily? I probably did say 67.4 close. Demos 91 said daily. I appreciate you jumping in there, Demos, because I'm not exactly sure what was being referred to there by Gustavo. Because I listed a lot of levels there for Bitcoin of what we want to see it get back up to and what it could potentially get down to. I think that might be, the chief concern here is how low can we go for Bitcoin, right? I think we've already tested 65,000, 65.1, right? I think getting down to 65 proper is probably in the cards if we don't continue to bid higher. But the good news is that we're bidding higher here, right? If we can get back up above the 0.78, which is just a few percentages, not even 1% away, right? That's going to bring a lot more stability to the crypto markets. That's going to give folks a little bit of a sigh of relief getting back up there. But the unfortunate truth is that out on the daily, we have already closed a candle lower than this low back here, right? We've broken out of this uptrending line of support, and that's just not good, right? So there's already been some significant damage done here on the 1 hour. Back out to the daily, though, there's plenty of hope for that just to be a wick, right? And for us to get back above some of these key levels. Right? The biggest one I'd say that we want to get back up above is 67.3. But if we could get back above this uptrending line of support, which would bring us back all the way up to 68.4 or 68.5, call it, that would be very bullish. And then the most bullish would be to get back in this pennant here. I'm not asking to go higher than that. I think that's way too much to ask for today. But right now, I think getting back up in here would be really, really good. The other thing too is that would put us back in the Bollinger Band, which you can't see behind the candlesticks, but the Bollinger Band right here, 69.1, if we could get back close this daily candlestick all the way back up there and get back in the pennant, that's going to be very big. Folks trading in the gold markets, trading in the oil markets are going to look at that. They're going to say, man, Bitcoin, absolutely killing it. So much strength, but we're not there yet. And I don't know if we'll get there. All right, well, we have some other news, but we're asking the question, should you buy, right? Is this the time to buy? And you buy in risk markets, what do? You buy low, you sell high. Today, there seems to be blood in the streets, all right? Not literally, right? But if you take a look at the crypto bubbles, right, this is extremely, extremely red, blood in the streets. Right? Now, I'm not saying that ironically. I'm not saying that it have anything to do with the major headlines today. I'm not trying to be crass at all. But this is a phrase used in trading. Buy when there's blood in the streets. A famous quote by Warren Buffett. When you're seeing red, that is usually when there are opportunities. But be aware that from a risk management standpoint, it is still risky to buy even when prices are low because they can go lower. Right? If so far, I'm pretty comforted with how little Bitcoin has seen downside movement because there's a pretty strong sell thesis out there right now, which is escalation in the Middle East, scary, bad, frightening to those who are taking risk in markets, and Bitcoin's only really down single digits. So that's comfort might be too strong of a word, but it's bringing me back to a level heart rate, we can say, right? And down on the 1 hour, you are even starting to see green candles again, right? 3 red candles in a row, and now we're seeing green candles again. So, we could stay on the Bitcoin charts all day. We'll absolutely return back to them, but let's go ahead and move on here. Museum of Corruption said, take it easy, bloodbath. Not sure what that means. PSY Adam said, I like to wait until things look and feel like they are about to go back up. Yeah. Hey, look, it's your money. It's your portfolio. I have not pushed the buy button yet on anything, but I'm going to be talking about some of the projects that I have not even gotten exposed to at all that I'd like to. So that's something to take into consideration. We'll be getting into those here in just a few moments. All right. Liz McKick said, "Look at link drop. How could you resist it?" Yeah. So that's kind of the Gustavo Viejo said, "Bad analogy to Shroom." Yeah. Well, blood in the streets that's not my analogy, right? That's an extremely common analogy. I bought Link, but I'm letting the knife drop further before I deploy limited cash I have left. Liz McKick, this is the right attitude for today, right? This is the right attitude. Now, we've looked at the charts a ton, so we're going to move on to the stories, but that is really well said, right? Buy some now. Not financial advice, but this is kind of like my attitude, my approach, what my thoughts are right now, what Liz's thoughts are as well here in the chat with us today. Thank you so much for joining, Liz. Thank you so much for joining everybody, right? Make sure that you smash the like button, right? And make sure that you consider subscribing if you're new to crypto, if you're new to the Investing Bros channel here. We like to have fun, but we like to be grounded, and we like to get educated on crypto, learn more about it, and profit from these markets. Liz is buying a little bit today, but leaving some dry powder on the sidelines in case we go lower. That is the play here, bros. If you do not have any money that you could afford to lose, if you spent $100 in crypto, if you bought $100 worth of crypto and you lost it and you wouldn't be able to pay rent, turn off the stream. Get off of YouTube and go get in your car and do Ubers, right? You need to go make more money. You're not going to get into crypto and make a bunch of money and get rich. You need to go be more disciplined in the fiat mining markets. Nothing wrong with that. However, if you're tuning in and you have disposable income, right? You've got an extra 10 grand to invest. 5 of it's already allocated into Bitcoin and Ethereum and Chainlink, whatever it's going to be, right? But you're looking for another something to do with that 5,000. Now you're in the right place. The crypto markets are for you. You're looking to allocate a defined amount of money that could potentially actually make more money. It's not just $100. And you're in the right place. Let's get into some of these news stories here. And look, if you're watching and all you have is $100, that's not a bad thing. It's just, this is not you can't afford to lose that $100, right? That $100 is much more important to you and what it can buy for you in terms of food and rent, and hopefully you get the point. Let's move on. Solana congestion issue caused by too much demand. Potentially a good problem to have. Deb's working on fix without sleeping much. So they're working hard for you over at Solana. They don't want to lose all of the trusty TVL that has gotten onto Solana. So they're doing everything they can to try to fix the recent congestion issues. Solana Labs head of communication Austin Federa, very close to Fedora, said developers from across the ecosystem are involved in concerted efforts to improve the platform's networking stack and resolve the issues that have caused a large number of transactions to fail on the network over the past days. So this is both an interesting story because this is the thing, right? Is Solana has already been getting battered in the markets as a result of more demand than it can handle, right? Downtime has been an issue for Solana. Structural issues have been an issue for Solana. It's not what you want to see, but it's a good problem to have. It means that too many people are using your product, right? All you have to do is get through it, adapt, and you should be good, right? That's kind of what a lot of Solana investors are probably thinking looking at this chart right now. See, there's been downward movement. If we look at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has been largely sideways in a similar period, right? We're only now seeing it break lower, right? But then we've been putting in higher lows, and even higher highs. If you start from right here, obviously this would be the highest high, but that's why it's a pennant, not an ascending triangle. So if we go back over to Solana, guys, look, ultimately the thesis here is this is a good one to buy, right? I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying that this is a good one to do more research on, right? This is one that I'm looking at, but I already feel that I'm probably adequately or overexposed to Solana, right? You may not be. Solana, a strong name so far in 2023, 2024 crypto markets. And now it's on sale. Now, it's been on sale. It's been moving to the downside, breaking through the midline of the Bollinger Band out on the daily chart. But, now it's starting to go on sale for a different reason, something that doesn't have to do with that network congestion, right? This would be a bet that if they can fix the network's congestion issue, then this is going to see a lot of upside movement. So that would be the first coin that I think could potentially be good to allocate into here, good to do more research on, understand for yourself. Do not be pushing the buy button because T Shroom's saying something. Be doing your own research because T Shroom is saying something, right? This is your portfolio. You shouldn't be watching any YouTube channels and making direct financial decisions off of that. All right. Let's take a look at some other coins here. Before I do, though, let's go ahead and look at the chat. Crux of Crypto saying Solana for the win. Absolutely. A lot of bulls holding strong to Solana. B-Ball Golf 47 said, I don't want sleep-deprived programmers working. LOL. That's true. That's a good point. That is a good point. B-Ball 47. I know it's 73. DOT is looking good. Steph 33 said DOT is looking good. Let's take a look at DOT. Pulling up the DOT charts here. So DOT we actually just did a video on, and it looks a little bit like Solana. It's been having a tough time getting back up above the midline of the Bollinger Band here on the daily chart, and now it's selling off with the rest of the market from wick to wick. Here, that wick high back in mid-March down to where we are now, that is 44% downside for DOT. So that is quite a bit. And yet, it is still a top 100 coin, right? If we're looking for value, if we're looking for discounted value projects, DOT is definitely one that is coming to mind here pretty strongly. Excellent shout out there, Steph33. Thanks for tuning in. Smash the like button. PSY, Adam said, honestly, if you have an extra 10 grand, might be better to just save and buy a house. No. Not if you don't need a house. I don't know. This is not the time for real estate conversations. I mean, maybe. Look, it's up to you what you want to do with your money. $10,000 is not, I guess it's like the first building block toward buying a house. I don't know. I don't agree with this one. Let me know. What do you guys think? Would you rather buy, with $10,000, would you rather buy real estate? Drop a 1 if you would buy real estate. Drop a 2 if you would buy crypto. You're tuned into a crypto channel. Guess what the ratio is going to be here. Just going to take a wild guess. But thank you so much for PSY, Adam. Thank you for tuning in. He's got some more to say. Every crypto YouTuber just scared to death of lawsuits, so they are constantly saying things like this. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. A lot of twos. A lot of folks thinking of buying crypto here. B-Ball Golf saying 7. I'm not. I think 7 was Coco. So I didn't say what it was, but 7 was Coco. So you're buying Coco way too high here. B-Ball 72 Golf. We're trying to have fun on a not so fun day. Storage and 1. Ivan Stavnov's shouting out. I'm not seeing any 1s for real estate. So, surprise, surprise, you're not tuned into Dave Ramsey here, where we're going to talk about real estate. Right? We're talking about crypto. Great financial advice as always, T-Shroom. Thank you. Of course, not financial advice. This is awesome advice. El Thoro said, 5 interesting alts to buy right now. Go, 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 go. Help us, T-Shroom. Okay, well, we've talked about Solana. Right? Is that the best buy? I don't know. If you don't have any Solana, it might not be a bad time to think about allocating. We talked about DOT, Polkadot, pretty strong, top 100 coin, getting a pretty good discount today. Right? Yeah, let's keep on trucking. Let's talk about some other ones here. Why don't we go crazy? Why don't we talk about some of the meme coins? Now, the meme coins here on my watch list, TradingView, man. Sometimes, I'll tell you what. The meme coins are absolutely taking a bath today. Not good at all. Who's leading lower is Myro, down 31%. Anybody probably got liquidated in this. Even if you were like as low as like 2 or 3x, you probably got liquidated today if you were trading Myro. Dogecoin, only down 13%. Of the meme coins, holding pretty strong. Already down 15. SNEC down 18. Let's hear it for SNEC. And you got any SNEC holders out there or any SNEC traders? Bonk is the one that I want to zoom in on here. Bonk was really, really strong. So was Miro. Let's take a look at Miro. So let's go from the midline of the Bollinger Band, because these coins are so new that doing a ton of analysis doesn't make a ton of sense. But from the midline of the Bollinger Band, which is just the 200-day simple moving average, 41% to the downside, call it. That's Miro. Bonk, I'm going to guess it's the exact same, 30%. So Bonk is down less, midline to candlestick close. So Bonk, Miro, if you're feeling froggy, if you're looking at these headlines, you're looking at the market and you're saying, I'm ready, baby. I'm ready to grab these markets by the horns and trade this sucker, trade this volatility, buy low, sell high. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's jump in here. Right? If that's your attitude right now and you're sober, right, and you're thinking you're only going to invest or you're only going to trade what you can afford to lose, right, that would be the spot on, but still alpha, ready to trade, ready to shred attitude. I think Bonk and Miro are probably pretty well depreciated at this point, pretty well oversold. Let's take a look here at the oscillators to just check in on that. So on the daily, man, it's really not even that oversold. This is Bonk here. Let's check on Miro. The same indicator. Yeah, really not even that oversold. I would want to wait till this gets down to the 19 level here on Lux Algo. Let's go down to the 4 hour and see what looks different. Yeah, so you are starting to get a good bit oversold here on the 4 hour. Now, we haven't seen these levels on Bonk since back here on March 16th, and then you have to go all the way back to February 2nd to see these levels of oversold, especially with the money flow pretty much flat. This could potentially be a good scalp trade. Now, I cannot stress enough, that would be a very risky, high risk, but high reward trade, right? This is where you're getting in, you're making that move, and you're getting out pretty quickly. You do not want to stay in these meme coins during a time like this of great volatility, but they are very oversold. $50 super chat here from Crypto Archie saying Caspa. Caspa. Let's take a look at Caspa. What is up, Archie? It's good to see you, man. I bet I've seen you've been dropping some new gems over on your channel on YouTube. And man, if you guys have not checked out Crypto Archie's channel, you're absolutely missing out. He drops alpha pretty much every single day over on YouTube. Where is the Caspa charts at, though? Let's take a look here. Caspa, big red candle, just like every other crypto chart today. And it has been similarly to Solana, it has been on the downtrend, right? So from that wick high to where we've wicked down today, 36%. So not as bad as DOT. But right here you can see in the live trading price down 34% from those highs. If we go back out to the daily, and I'll throw on my macro analysis that I've been kind of tracking here for Caspa, you can see that we are trading at the low end of this Fibonacci trend extension, and we are even getting down to these lows from back here on the 19th. Now, I'm going to kill this fib extension because I had drawn this just 2 days ago. We were starting to get this uptrending line of support, and folks, we are getting that candle body. Archie, I'm glad you're pointing this out because we're getting that daily candle body close back up above the support. We had a wick lower, but wicks are not candlesticks. Now, of course, as I'm saying this live, we're coming back down, right? But this would be bullish if we can get a daily close above this uptrending line of support. That would be pretty bullish. Thank you so much, Archie, for your super chat. Super awesome there. Go check out his YouTube channel. Legitimately, like you're not gonna be disappointed. And probably if you're listening to the sound of my voice, you've already gone over there and sampled his wares, which are of the highest quality for sure. YouTube channel, check it out. Crypto Archie, Caspa, maintaining some levels here. If we can get that daily close above 12.3, that would be very bullish. Happens to also coincide pretty nicely with this 12.5 level that I've had on this T-box for a while. This coincides with this red candlestick and this red candlestick, and then also some support that was back here. That's that 12.5 level, right? If we can get a candlestick close above that, it's kind of like, it's a little bit like Bitcoin closing back in this pennant. I don't think it's going to happen, right? But if it did, that would just show the market, yo, this is what we're working with. We're working with some bullish assets right here. Again, don't think that's going to happen. What I really want to see to give me confidence that we aren't going to go lower is just a close above 67.3, 67.4, right? Getting back above 68.4 would be excellent. And then bonus mode, right? Just showing the market what's up, getting back above, basically 70,000. I don't think we're going to get the bonus mode here. It would be terrific to get back into excellent territory. I really want to see it get back above 67, get back into that platinum pocket. That's Bitcoin. We were just looking at Caspa. Let's take a look at some of the oscillators for Caspa, and then we are getting close to the end of the show, so we will jump back into the stories, jump back into the chat. Caspa. Here it is, just under dot. There we go. So yeah, let's go ahead and we're still on the daily. Let's look at the Lux Algo oscillator matrix. That money flow coming back into the line of note here, and that's pretty good. I mean, it's positive on the day. Let's see. Let's drill in a little bit more. Yeah. So you've had a bearish reaction. Not a surprise at all. Getting back below that line of note and then coming down. Big jerking motion there. Usually not what you want to see from an oscillator. But it makes sense given the larger context here of crypto. Looking at the MACD, big jerking motion to the downside. What you would expect. Okay. So, if you're new to crypto, you just bought some Caspa, you're shaking in your boots, what the heck? Am I going to be poor? No, probably not, right? Unless you're in a leverage position on Caspa, in which case you may want to consider exiting. But, you want a DCA here. You want to go ahead and get a lower entry, right? Because if you were buying Caspa in here, right, now you have a chance. You were probably thinking, man, I'll buy it here, but I kind of wish it was lower. We'll look at where we are today. And that pretty much goes for Caspa, but that goes for pretty much everything in the top 100. Maybe not everything, but other projects that you feel pretty confident in, of which there are many, right? Some others that come to mind, AVAX, we talked about Solana, right? You'll see I am scrolling over some here. Polkadot, another good one, right? And then obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum. All right, so we're getting some good projects in here. I talked about Bonk and Miro, maybe some meme coin plays that haven't. They're likely to do pretty well in the bull market, right? The meme thesis, the meme narrative doesn't seem to be going away, and those are really, really down bad today, right? Miro still down 30%, Bonk down 23%, SNEC also down 18%. Maybe not a bad play here. Again, these are for the extra motivated, degenerate experts out there who know what they're doing in markets, and they're no stranger to risk management. They understand what they're doing. They're not taking everything they can afford to lose and betting it on the line, right? They're doing the responsible thing. Well, clearly, I think we've come to a pretty strong consensus, in at least what I'm seeing, that it is the macro events that are driving the price movement to the downside of the, Israel reportedly prepares for attack by Iran this weekend. I'm sure the world will be watching with bated breath to see what ends up happening and what shots are called from out of Tel Aviv. And from Iran. This is going to be an interesting weekend to see how things go. Obviously, here on Investing Bros, this morning I was asking the question, 74 Bitcoin by Monday. I, at this point, am not seeing it. However, we did have a lot of bullish news today, right? Hong Kong had an article. Hong Kong was being talked about by Bloomberg. We could potentially see spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs passed by Monday. That's pretty big. So there is a decent amount of bullish news out there. Bullish news, not a time to snooze. Getting a lot of bullish news and then a pullback, right? Does that mean sell? To me, if you are adequately managing risk, you should not be panicking today. You should be looking for opportunities. Even if it's just intellectual ones to test your knowledge, to test your skills in the markets. You don't actually have to spend any money, any euros, any dollars, any pesos to just make that bet in your head. This would be a good place to buy Caspa. This would be a good place to buy whatever it is. You fill in the blank. You fill in the blank, right? Personally, I think this is a pretty good spot to buy Caspa, right? But you don't have to actually spend the money, right? If you're not ready to take that risk, if you have never traded any markets, then don't. This is probably not the time to make your first trade or to make your first investment. Just wait, right? Play it out in your head. If you were to buy here, what happens? How do you feel about that, right? Now, I will walk that back a little bit. If you don't have any Bitcoin specifically, Bitcoin is not an altcoin. If you don't have any Bitcoin specifically, right, we want you to get off zero. We want you to really take it seriously. Why BlackRock, why Fidelity, why Hong Kong banks are going ahead and making ETFs for Bitcoin available to Wall Street and to you, right? And Bitcoin is different. If you do not have any Bitcoin, I'm not going to discourage you from buying a Bitcoin. But definitely don't invest what you can't afford to lose. It could also be the Bitcoin options expiry worth $1.5 billion, set 69K max paying price. Obviously, we are down below that now. So this, in my opinion, has played a role, but it is a muted role compared to these broader headlines that we're seeing here. Okay, let's move into, I really like the analysis here from the Gold Prairie Twitter account. Today is a flight to dollars, and unfortunately that puts a solid headwind to Bitcoin. You have headwinds that are bad, right? Wind at your front, tailwinds that are good, wind behind you, getting in your sails and propelling you forward. I'm still very much in the rollover camp, but so far that has not happened, and we must adapt when we are wrong. Need to roll with the punches. 107 is the line to watch. So drawing a line here on the Dixie. The Dixie really is kind of the all eyes on it. I'd say the next biggest one is probably those oil prices. Right, if oil prices and the Dixie continue to move to the upside, then you do start to see major support levels for Bitcoin even start to loosen, right? And, lower levels like 61 and 60 and even 58 come back into play. I don't like talking about it just as much as you don't like hearing about it, right? But it's good to know that some of that is at play. So the Dixie, getting back up above this downtrending line of what was resistance, flipping it in support, textbook manner. Now, can the Dixie get back up above 107 is the question here that Gold Prairie's asking, and it doesn't look too far out of reach. That would be bearish. That would not be what we want. However, would that make me sell all my Bitcoin? No. That is not it, right? There's a lot more damage that I would have to see before I start selling my Bitcoin. The Dixie getting up above a key level is not having me shake in my boots. It's not what I'd love to see, but it does give me an opportunity to probably buy Bitcoin a bit lower. So bros, thank you all so much for tuning in. We've talked about a lot of different picks. I've got two more here on my list that I want to show you all. Now these are some of my personal picks. And I'm just going to say them out. Injective, Arweave, and Ondo. These are projects here. There's a lot more that are on my list to potentially get exposure to. Render would be an honorable mention there. But if we go over and probably spend the rest of our time doing this analysis over on CoinMarketCap, I will show you why. If we go to the 60-day down percentage, right? So over the last 60 days, these are the top gainers. So over the last 60 days, go 60 days before today to today. Dog with hat. It's pretty much all meme coins, right? Dog with hat, Pepe up 500%, Nervos up 500. That is a utility coin, right? Doing a very good job of convincing the market that this is a good new project to invest in. The market is saying that, not necessarily me. Floki, another meme coin. Jasmy getting a nice bid up here, 300%. Again, convincing the market that it deserves to be in the top 100. Core doing the same, another new utility coin. And then you get into Arweave. Arweave doing very well. And then over the last 7 days, Arweave is down 24%, right? This would be a good time to go ahead and scoop some of that up. You buy low, you sell high, not financial advice. Ondo, same thing, another strong project, but it's so strong, it's up 300% in the last 90 days, 200% in only the last 60 days, right? It's done very, very well. It has name association with one of the biggest names in crypto right now, BlackRock, right? So probably not a bad time to scoop up some of that as well. Okay. And then Injective, I'm coming at it from the opposite direction. With Injective, I'm looking at it because of how down it is, right? Now, I'm also looking at it because I don't have any exposure. If you're sitting on, if you have your portfolio and you've got a bunch of like 2 to 5% allocations, and Injective is one of those, you're probably adequately allocated, right? But I don't have any. I've been waiting for an entry in old Injective, and as you can see, of some of the top utility coins here, Injective is kind of calling out at me. Over the last 60 days, it's down 9%. Over the last 90 days, it's down 15%. Are these numbers right? I feel like it's down more than that. Yes, indeed it is. Crap. What were all those numbers we were just talking about to the upside? Goodness gracious. We'll have to go back and look at those. Arweave and Ondo, we will. Sorry, disregard the last 4 minutes of analysis. For some reason, the screen had not refreshed, and I was not getting live tickers. Okay, here we go. Injective, over the last 90 days, down 32%. 60 days, 31%. You gotta love modern technology here, folks. Injective is going to be my downside play. Again, I don't have any exposure to it. If you already have exposure, then probably you're not allocating here. TIA is another one that's looking pretty good. I'm personally not picking it up here, but maybe it's something that has really gotten your attention really well. Okay, let's go back. Ondo, down 11%. Okay, so not too far off what we were talking about. 11% in the last 7 days. 11% of that has been today, right? It's already getting a bit higher in the hourly candles, okay? But what I will keep in mind is that this has been in a powerful uptrend here. Up 300% in the last 90 days, almost 200% in the last 60 days. That's Ondo. Again, that's the one that BlackRock has apparently been kind of tapping, king-making for some tokenization plays. And then the other one was Arweave. Arweave, much more impressive movement to the down, much more impressive discount as we conclude the show here. Down 23%. This is the real number it's down over the last 7 days. And 21% over the last 24 hours. And you can see it's had a lot of strength over the last 90 and 60 days. T-Shroom, in for the Investing Bros. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring you all this news and what is going on in the asset markets. It's not been a pleasure what the news is, unfortunately. In fact, let's go ahead and see if there's been any updates from some of these live Twitter accounts that I like to follow for updates. Let's go over to Radar and see what they're saying. We might go to Zero Hedge as well. 3 hours ago, Radar, you're letting me down here. Let's go to Zero Hedge and see what is being said. If there's anything about these escalations that maybe are signaling it's not going to be so bad. Not seeing too much here from Zero Hedge either. So folks kind of keeping quiet. These accounts that usually would be saying all kinds of different things are keeping quiet here. Yeah, it looks like they're not touching this story quite yet because there's too much that could happen that hasn't already happened that might happen and blah 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 blah. But we already took a look at it. If we just type in Israel, Iran into Google searches, look at some of the headlines here. From the last 38 minutes, Biden says he expects Iran will attack Israel sooner than later. Okay, non-political headline there. Yeah, and that's about what we're seeing. It's about the summary. It's about where we are. So it's definitely not what we woke up wanting to see, but it's what the news is kind of delivering for us today. 22 minutes ago, Biden warns against Biden warns Iran against revenge attack on Israel or U.S. forces. So, the U.S. kind of standing up here and saying, look, we're not afraid to escalate. If you want to escalate, we're going to escalate. Likely they're getting intel. That escalation is coming from Iran towards Israel. And this is having a big sell-off effect disproportionately for altcoins versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin, again, we'll check on it here as we conclude. But last we checked, not even getting down below into double digits of losses here on the day. This is the 4-hour chart. Let's go out to the daily chart. But meanwhile, the altcoins absolutely are bleeding, with Miro, the meme coin, being the one that has gotten really the worst of it, down as much as 32% while we've been covering. If we will play along here, still not seeing more than 8.5% downside from the top of the candle of today's candle. Ethereum getting it much harder, with as much as wick to wick, 13% downside, wick to wick again. Also of note, so we saw Caspa finding support on a similar uptrending line of support, right? Ethereum not so much here, and that's unfortunate. Let's take a look here. Let's see how the markets closed. The Dow Jones, as we saw, had been making a move lower with some lower lows here, and it has closed at 37,900. It's almost close to its all-time highs though of 40,000. We almost got 40,000 on the Dow Jones. We did not get it though back here on April 1st. We got fooled into thinking we were going to. Let's look at the S&P. Looking similarly bearish, getting down below the midline of the Bollinger Band after trading above it since technically we got back down below it February 21st, but really didn't get a candle print since January 17th below the midline of the Bollinger Band. That all stopped back here on April 4th, and as of today, we're just pushing lower due to these Middle Eastern escalations. Oil prices seem to be holding strong here, not going too much higher after this gigantic wick to the upside there for oil. But I think that is going to be where I call it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Obviously, Tim was not joining me. Usually he would be, but he's traveling up to Virginia to see the spring game for the Virginia Tech football team. And we're all very happy that he's getting some time, much needed time off with his family, doing it. A mellow fellow said, solo T-Shroom stream. Absolutely. All right. Somebody's saying the Discord link doesn't work. I don't know. I think it probably does. Dollar Dixie to the moon now. Check it. Let's take a look. I don't know that the Dixie is rallying to the moon. Kinda is here. Is this the daily? Yeah, this is the daily. Let's look at it on the hourly 2-hour. We have seen some movement here. Not really since we've been streaming. Since I've been live, it's really been flat, but thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, the Dixie is not moving in the right direction, just in general. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be live again tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to have a special guest. I can't announce who that is quite yet because it is still in flux. Let me see if I got a text back. Not yet, but I will announce that very, very soon who our guest will be tomorrow for the 11 a.m. stream. Thank you so much for tuning in, bros. If you are a person of faith, would encourage you to pray for the Middle East right now. We really don't want to see any more escalation there. At least I don't, and I hope that you don't either. But go ahead and pray for the people on the ground there who are at risk. And But I'll see you at 11 tomorrow. We'll do it huge, Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are trading this volatility, for the love of God, please use stop loss. And if you're human, please, for the love of health, stay hydrated. Adios.
Trying to make paper. turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Tryna make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.